Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Oluwaseyi Chidume, and today I'm going to be talking about Seeds to Success, Redefining the African Mentality. Roger Ward Babson, a very famous American economist and educator, once said, "Let him who wants to enjoy a good future waste none of today, none of his present." And for a long time in Africa, we understand the part of this saying in the form of education. It has been said that if you go to school, if you get all A's in WAEC, if you do everything you're supposed to do, you are going to be successful in life. Unfortunately, in the era that we are in, we have seen lapses towards that mindset. I will tell you a story. My family is not the typical African family. And while growing up, I went through a series of exposure. Now, from the ages of 13, that was when I got my first paid job. When I was 13 was when I finished writing a national exam, which we all term Junior WAEC. And I had 6 months. 6 months to either do lessons for SS1 or 6 months to do anything that I pleased. And my parents deemed it fit that I would go through a series of exposure. Now, what is exposure? Exposure, first of all, is just being unveiled to a series of experiences or anything or cultures. Now, at this age of 13, the first form of exposure that I went through was I went to a camp, an IT camp. Never had I told my parents that I wanted to venture into technology, but the opportunity came and I went. Now, the aim of this was just so that I could be released into the outside world to know how the outside world is, right before actually being in the outside world. After I went through camp to learn how to develop an app, I went for a competition for app development. And that's not the point of the story, but I came third. And then after that, I had an internship at a hospital. Now, mind you, when I went for this internship, I did not have a degree. I did not even have my secondary school leaving certificate. I had just finished 9th grade, which is just 3. And I interned at a hospital in the different departments, radiology, gynecology, everything. After that internship, I was able to work at an agricultural certification company, and I was exposed to the working lifestyle. I was able to experience and see different people from different cultural backgrounds and see how, life actually is. And I got money. That was the actual first money that I made in a 9-to-5 setting. Prior to the age of 13, I had always followed my parents to work. My parents, just for fun, I didn't even know the benefits of it. I always enjoyed following my parents to work. And there I got to see how my dad did things. And unconsciously, it was developing a mindset inside of me. By the time I came to this great institution, as of my first time here in my just one, so my father he was a partner in this cheese balls company, this snacks company. And so I used to go with him all through my life. And by the time I entered secondary school, I was 10. And so when I came here, I had snacks at home, like my dad used to distribute, right? But I would take some to school. And so I decided to bring some to school. And somebody said, "Oh, can I have it? Can I have it?" And they really liked it. And subconsciously, I started to sell it. And I went to bring the whole pack. And the first time, that was when I was 10 years old, I sold a whole pack of peanut butter. And I got 12,000 naira. I earned money. I went home and my father was elated. He was proud of me. And I didn't know, and I handed the money over to him. And then my parents started doing something. They started giving me money daily. They would give me 500 naira daily. And they would tell me, "You're responsible for how you spend this money. You're responsible for how you save it. You're responsible for what you put it in and everything." Now, why am I saying all this long and short of the story? Everything that I went through my childhood, built me to who I am today. Currently, I'm a medical science student in the Department of Human Physiology, and I'm a proud business owner as well. I'm in university, and in university in Nigeria, unfortunately, our students are still asking their parents for money, like down to as little as they want to buy a handout of 1,000 naira, which I don't think is completely right. Now, because of this business opportunity that I had and I ventured into, I do not really disturb my parents for money. Whenever they have time, they can send me the money. Why am I saying this? I'm saying in a typical African home, education that was meant to be an arsenal for growth and success has been made a prison. Our success has been confined to the walls of an institution, thereby forsaking a fundamental for success known as exposure. I said earlier that exposure is being unveiled to an experience, it's being unveiled to a culture, it's being unveiled to your environment in general. Now, what are the advantages of exposure? I have a few advantages as well as disadvantages. Like every other thing in life, everything that has an advantage has a disadvantage. Now, the advantages of exposure include learning and growth. When you expose your child beyond the walls of the family home, beyond the walls of the educational institution, this child is able to learn how to function in the real life world. Now, what does this curb? It prevents us from having the cycle that we've seen where when a child is done with the tertiary institution, they are abruptly pushed into the outside world and it takes them about 1 to 2 years to find their balance, all because they've never seen this before. What do they learn? What do they grow in? They learn communication skills. They learn presentation skills. They learn so many things in such an environment. The second thing is cultural understanding. When you expose a child to such an environment, this child is able to learn that, oh, not everybody acts the way they act in my home. Everybody has their own personality. And this child is able to tolerate, and this child is able to understand, and this child is able to relate with these people. So that when they are given the opportunity to actually work and see life for themselves, they are not falling behind and they don't get fired on their first day of job because they don't understand why a human being is acting the way they are acting. Thirdly, networking opportunities. Now, we know in Nigeria it's a fundamental. You need the right networks to get where you want to be. And now, mostly, this generation, we are dependent on who our parents know. But it's not supposed to be so. This child is supposed to have a mind of their own. This child is supposed to build something of their own. And being exposed helps this child develop their own networking opportunity, not based on favoritism, but based on being actually seen. And somebody can say, oh, I see, she has such good public speaking abilities. Or she knows this language, she knows that, and thereby paving the way for him or herself. Thirdly, exposure in general just builds you to make sense on time, to be successful on time. You just cover up for everything that you're supposed to do on time. Like I said, Roger Ward-Babson said, let him who will enjoy a good future waste none of his presence. Now, I cannot forsake the disadvantages of exposure, but I only have two, unfortunately. And the first disadvantage is negative influence. Obviously, when you expose anything, there's a chance of that thing you've exposed being contaminated. And that same thing applies for your child. But what's the point of this talk today? Is to understand that, yes, being exposed can also be guided. That's the point of quick exposure, or rather early exposure by your parents. Now you are able to see your child and expose the child on your own terms, on what you understand, and curb what you're supposed to do, and thereby preventing those negative influences. I can tell you something, everybody here seated, everybody listening to me, I can tell you that if you do not expose your child, somebody will expose that child for you. That is fact. And the second thing that is a disadvantage that I know is a fear in everybody's mind is, when this child starts making money, they will start disrespecting me, which is outgrowing your age. Unfortunately, it is a disadvantage that I did face. It's that I started thinking above my years. I started living above my years. I won't say it's so bad. I'm okay with it, honestly. But your child tends to not enjoy the joys or the play. Do you understand? Everything that comes with this age. And so they tend to outgrow their age. But that's where balance comes in. And how do we do this balance? I'm going to give you a roadmap. An age-by-age roadmap on how to guidedly or securely expose your child. Now we'll start from early childhood. Early childhood is from, I'm not saying expose your child from the age of 1. We'll start from the ages of 3 to 6. This is early childhood. How do you expose this child? First of all, the child is so young, it's not a working experience. The educational system, just as an institution like this, you can securely expose your child, first of all. Now, you release this child to not just learning what is in school, but this child begins to learn, vocational skills, not vocational skills, rather language skills, just clubs, everything. And they are exposed within a confinement to these social skills, basically, at the ages of 3 to 6. Within your home, how can you expose this child to that developmental knowledge? Giving them certain chores to do at home, thereby helping them take responsibility. From the ages of 3 to 6, the child is not too early. At the age of 5, I think the first time I cooked for myself. I made noodles. I was 5 years old or 6. It wasn't the best, but my parents started exposing me early, just giving this child something to be responsible for. Now we move on to primary school. This primary school is from the ages of 7 to 10. Now in primary school, this child is exposed to language skills. Why are language skills important? For example, now in the era that we are in, it's not enough to just have a BSc to be employed. What is going to stand you out from every other person? Now, if I present to you myself and I can speak 2 international languages and a local language, which is my dialect, and I present to you somebody with just a BSc degree that has with a first class, and the other person with a second class offer, who would you take, being an international organization that can have other people that will come, and this person bilingual can come and talk to your clients without a translator? It's going to give your institution a prestige. That is what you do from those early ages. You start exposing your child to volunteering experiences. From the ages of 7, 8, 10, I started volunteering for a non-governmental organization, and that is actually what built in the public speaking in me, because I became their ambassador and I started speaking for them at events. Now, volunteering and all these things build your child, which leads us next to early adolescence. Early adolescence is going to be from the ages of 13 to the ages of 15. Now, what happens at this early adolescence? I actually advise working experience. Like I did say, at the age of 13, I got my first paid job. What did this working experience do? Aside cultural implications like tolerance, aside building communication skills, aside every other thing, it teaches your child financial independability, whereby your child knows how to save it, and he knows the work. He has done the sweat. And so whatever enters his hand, he or she knows how to multiply this money and knows how to save this money. It prevents a lot of problems when the time actually comes. Exposure at this age range, helps your child not play catch up with life. It helps your child stay ready. It helps your child build budgeting skills. Now, this child starts having, and I'm not telling you that this child should stop school and start working. Now, it's taking advantage of holidays and not just doing holidays for lessons. It's holidays, it's being exposed to learning online courses. Education must not be within a wall. I have a friend that right now, he's 19 like I am. Yes, I'm 19 years old. He's 19 like I am, and he works online. He works remotely, but he's still a student. How was he able to get all the jobs that he did online? Was because he took online courses and he got the certifications for that. That leads me to my next point in this age-to-age roadmap in the ages of 13 to 15, and that is teaching your child how to develop a resume, a CV. Unfortunately, most students in Nigeria, most youth in Nigeria don't get a CV till they are 21 or 22. That is when they are graduating from university, because that's when they see the need for a CV. But if your child is taught on time that, start building yourself from now so that, like we say in Nigeria, you will be a hot cake when you are released into the labor market. This is what you can do for your child with exposure. Build your CV. Be exposed to part-time experience, volunteering and everything. And also, as a parent, imbibe reading in the child. Let this child be hungry to learn new things and to build himself. I didn't start reading on time. Unfortunately, that was not one of the things I was exposed to. But I saw the need now, and I started reading books. And these books made me knowledgeable. These books told me my knowledge gap and made me better to be the person that I am today. And next is late adolescence. Now, late adolescence is between the ages of 15 to 18. Now, job searching should start from now. Job searching, and then building on everything that you have inculcated in the child over the years and cementing it. Lastly is the transition into adulthood as of 18 and upwards. This child already has a mind of his or her own. Probably because of how fast we are in Africa, the child is already leaving university towards this age, 20, 21. But this child is able to stand on his or her own. Why? Because the child has already learned how to build a CV. The child has been exposed to a business environment, a working environment. And let me tell you something, that made me, as I told you, I'm a business owner. And how did I start my business? I started my business when I entered university. Being exposed to a working environment, first of all, like when I had opportunities to do internships and work, it made me decide where I was going to be in life. And that's why I'm studying medical science. That's why I'm in the Department of Human Physiology. I love human beings. I love treating them. And the internship in the hospital just literally opened my mind up to that. And the second thing, I started my business because I saw a gap when I went to school. Now, medical science students, we caught a lot of dead bodies. Unfortunately, we call them cadavers. And so we experience a lot of gross things. And we're not supposed to have nails. We're not supposed to fix all these things because it will interfere with our work. It will cut our gloves and everything. But then I saw these girls that wanted to look beautiful. And we had events. It's university. We had events. We had departmental dinners. We have association dinners and everything. And I was like, how do I bridge the gap and help them? Because they saw it a waste of money to go and actually fix nails, then have to remove it the next day because they have practical. And I started looking, what can I do? And then I started press-on nails that you can fix in 10 minutes and then go for your event and it will last. Like right now, I'm carrying them, you will never even know. And then when you come back, you can remove it. If you still want to carry it for a week, you can carry it for a week. I saw a gap and I preferred a need. And nobody's competing with me. Exposure helps your child not play catch up. Exposure breaks the cycle of what we think is success in Africa, which is growing up, making money, paying my children's school fees, being able to foot a few bills, and I think I'm successful. That is not success. I'm sorry to say. Let us break the cycle. And that is the point of this talk. So now we are reevaluating ourselves and we're being exposed on time. Parents, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say be willing to release your child into the world so that the world does not come and meet your child and the child is shaking and cannot survive for the next 1 to 2 years. Society, be willing to open your doors to teach these children. There's an adage that they say in my house, and I found out there's an adage that is said in the Igbo community. It says it takes a village to raise a good child. It's not just you. These are the seeds to success, and I hope your mentality has been changed. Thank you.